If you're thinking about becoming a teacher, then there's an important question that you need to be able to answer. And that question is this: why do we have schools? The answer is one that both Christian and secular educators can probably agree on. And the answer is this: schools exist so that students might know something. Now, while we can agree on this definition, there's going to be a lot of disagreement about what it is that students are supposed to know and how students are supposed to know it. Educators call this the content and methods of the curriculum. And so if you want to be a teacher, then it's important to consider how a particular college or university is going to address these fundamental issues. At Covenant College, the professors work together to try to define and refine our thinking about what it means to know something from a Christian perspective. So for example, integral learning, which is the idea that there's a coherency to God's creation, that there's unity within the diversity of things. We can understand this from a Christian perspective. Let me give you an example. In elementary school science classes, we often study trees. Now, trees are approached from a biological aspect in the classroom. And so we look at the parts of the tree and how they contribute to the survival of the tree in a particular environment. We also might bring in chemistry so we can understand how photosynthesis works. So when we take one aspect of something in creation and look at it, we pull it out of context and look at it as if it's under a microscope so we can understand it better and we can analyze it. But when we do that, it loses some of its meaning. So it's important at some point for us to put that topic back in its creational context and look at other aspects of the tree in this case. So trees not only have a biological aspect, but they have a mathematical aspect. We can study the height of a tree. We can look at how many gallons of water it absorbs in a day. We can count the number of branches on it. A tree also has an economical aspect. We can pick the apples and we can sell them in the marketplace for money. We can cut the tree down and sell the lumber. There's a recreational aspect to trees. We can swing from the branches, we can hide behind the trunk. When we play hide and seek, we can rest in its shade. There's a legal aspect to trees. Laws have been created to protect endangered species. And there are some communities that might even have laws about what kinds of trees can be planted there. There are many other aspects to a tree that can enrich a student's knowledge of what that tree means in creation. The more that students know about the interconnectedness of a topic, the more there's opportunity for them to have insight, to have meaningfulness, and to have responsiveness and joy in learning. And this is why it's important for us to know the topics that we study in school in the context of the creation, the fall, redemption, and consummation. That's another thing that's involved in training students to be teachers at Covenant College. So if you want if you want to learn how to think Christianly about the content and methods of teaching, if you want to learn how to help students become more knowledgeable in the various disciplines so they can teach them well, if you want to come away from your teacher training with an understanding that Christian teaching is about loving and inspiring and serving students, then you might want to consider the education program here at Covenant College.